Hello everyone. I'm very
Hello.
happy to see you all gathering right now from different countries and time zones. And everyone is waiting for us to start our webinar, our fireside chat with Vasily Sabirov on game analytics and the career paths and choices that the analytics can take. And I will first introduce myself. I'm Tanya Laktionova. I'm the founder of Values Value, a recruitment team that helps game development companies hire the best talent. I'm also the co-founder at In-Game Job, a job portal with thousands of job ads for the game industry professionals. And these companies are the organizers of this webinar, and our main star, Vasily Sabirov. We are
Hello.
very,
Hi.
very happy. We are very happy to have this big comeback. It's been quite a while since the audience had an opportunity to hear from you. Though you are still in the hearts and thoughts and role models of game analytics in different countries and different companies throughout the games industry. And Vasily has been working in the games analytics for 13 years already, with experience at Xsola, Alternativa platform, which stands behind Tanki Online and Dev2Dev. Since 2020, Vasily has held the position of head of analytics at Easybrain, a company developing mobile puzzle games such as Sudoku.com, Nonogram.com, Blokudoku, and others, which are the leaders in the global market. Vasily is the author of the popular book on game analytics, The Game of Numbers, and my big friend, my big industry friend, who I really enjoy having here today. Thank you, Vasily, for coming.
Thank you, Tanya. Nice to hear you. Nice to see you. And it's a pleasure to take part in this webinar.
Thank you. Thank you. I must make a small announcement. So I have some connection issues and I'm using the mobile internet. That is why please be patient to some unexpected things that may happen, but I hope will not. And I think that we're ready to start. Vasily, how do you
Yes.
think? Are we ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay,
Let's start.
great. So I think that it is quite an idea to start with your career path,
Mhm.
how you became an analytic. Could you please
Well,
share?
yes. It started a long time ago in a galaxy far away. Uh, in 2011, I started my game career. I joined the Xsola team first as the head of payment system department, and back then I pivoted to the analytics department. In 2013, I joined the Alternativa platform company, uh, which is popular by their Tanki Online game. And there I had a chance to deep dive into the free-to-play ecosystem and to explore all of the corners, all the issues of that ecosystem as a science. In 2015, I joined Dev2Dev team, um, first as the lead analyst, then as a co-founder. And
Dev2Dev is an analytic platform
yes,
which helps analyze all the in-game data and events. And besides, it's been consulting quite a lot, as far as I remember.
yes, that's true. And there we I developed, we did the great game analytical service. We decided what the game analytics should be, and there we make the game analytics both universal and customizable. And in 2020, I joined Easybrain. Uh, That's the big company which creates the best mobile puzzles on the market. And what I like especially about Easybrain that the data-driven approach is pretty strongly established in the company. And I needed, and I still need to further develop the data process, to accelerate, to elaborate our analytical department, and to establish all of the analytical methodologies and processes.
Thank you for sharing. But you didn't mention your background. What's your education, and what were your first jobs before joining the games industry?
Well, I had an education in math. I'm the how to say it, magister when I finished 6 years, and also I had the financial management education and some additional education as a professional translator. But it was a long time ago. My experience
I thought
before
you
the
would say that you had also a professional education as a stand-up comedian.
no, I did not. Maybe I'll have it in the future. Yes, that's one of the latest hobbies. It started only a few years ago. My experience before the game industry, I worked in some IT sector in Perm, and I developed some mathematical modeling. Uh, One of my favorite tasks I remember was the task which optimized the money collectors route through the city. You know the money collectors, the guys from the bank who take the money
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, I do.
from ATMs, and they need to start. They need to have the optimal routes within the city to reduce the risk of carrying a lot of money, a lot of cash at one time. And I helped them to develop the mathematical model of their routes some month before Google Maps. Yes, that was interesting.
Cool. So this was the job preceding your entering the games industry.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. Okay.
I thought that this task was like I was playing GTA 2. Yes, and that's how I solved it.
Hmm. So if to make it brief, just and round up. So mathematician with mathematics and finance with applied mathematics
Mhm.
education, then some jobs connected with math and algorithms,
And
and
modeling, yes.
then in-house. Or was it a service? So what was your first job? Did you analyze games, or did you help to analyze some tools or some service? What was it? So how did you manage to become hands-on with analytics? What was it?
Well, you mean my first job inside the game industry?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yes, that was in Exola, and Exola is the payment provider, and I analyzed all the payment funnels and
uh-huh,
try to optimize the payment conversion. You know, the
I see.
conversion optimization is the infinite task because you never see the 100% conversion. Uh, and yes, I try to maximize it uh, as possible.
Okay, so analytics of the payments, then
Mhm.
product analytics, not for a mobile game. I guess
Yes,
it was a
it's a
PC
it's a
or
browser game. If you're talking
browser.
about Tank Online, yes, that
Yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah,
browser game. That
yeah,
is
yeah.
it's still a browser game.
Yeah, and then a service providing data analytics and the data analytics tool,
Yep.
and then since 2020 at Easybrain, you are head of all the analytics, all the both marketing and the product analytics.
It's mostly product analytics. Yes,
It's mostly product.
we have the special department which is specializing on marketing
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
marketing analytics as well. Yes.
Okay, we'll have a question on designing a analytics department, and I think that I'll ask you a bit more about this there. But
Mhm.
what I know that you hire lots of professionals in your team,
Yes.
and previously you've been invited as an external consultant to hire analytic teams and heads of analytics to different
Mhm.
companies. So you know the market, you know all the people. What is the most usual career path for a game analytic? And what other career paths can you remember?
Yes. I think that which weather is going to be the most likely tomorrow, the same weather as today. And I think that the most usual path for game analytics, for game analyst, is to remain the game analyst. Yes, of course, some of the analysts can go to some lead or head position, but some of the analysts are absolutely okay on their senior position where there is no, where they don't have to rule the teams. And I think the most likely for me, it's when the game analyst remain game analyst.
I
But also,
see.
I think, Mhm.
Okay, so we are talking about switching from analytics to
Yes,
something else, and this which is not very
yes,
popular. In some rare examples, I can remember game analytics who want to become product managers or producers,
yes.
uh, but this is not so often. And what about switching to analytics from other games industry professions? Which is more often? Which is more frequent? If you can remember.
Switching to the game analytics.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, I remember one of the guys who fixed the planes. Mm, well, he was like a plane mechanic, and he switched to the game analytics. That was pretty nice. I also remember one case ab- uh, about some neurologist who switched to game analyst. Yes, but mostly it require since it still require the mathematical education, or at least technical education.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly people come from closer positions, such as, for example,
Mm-hmm.
data
Mm-hmm.
engineer or something.
Yeah, I remember examples from the games industry, like
Mhm.
switching from game designers, game economy
Yes,
designers, uh, maybe yeah, game designers and game economy designers are the most frequent things that I have noticed.
switching from QA is also the pretty popular way.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. That's
Yes,
interesting. Yeah.
because as QA you know the product in all of the details,
Yeah.
and you can see the product widely, and then you just need to add the mathematical view to that, and
Hmm.
mm, sometimes good QAs can be the good game analysts.
I see. I see. Because we usually hire top-notch specialists or
Mhm.
maybe head of analytics, um, analytical experts, and that is why we do not hire juniors and really do not know much about switching from roles to roles.
Mhm.
Uh, and I never thought about QA from this perspective. And it really sounds interesting. I really understand why, which hard skills and soft skills are required and are
Yes.
relevant for that. Yeah, yeah, I see. Um,
But
and what?
uh, going back to the way after analytics, I think the most popular way, besides the analytics, is the product manager, of course,
Yeah.
or producer, because yes, again, it's more or less the same, but with a different tool sets. And those analysts who have the business attitude, have the availability to find the problems and bottlenecks on the product, they're pretty likely to switch to product managers, and that's okay. I think that's the pretty organic way to for the analysts to change the sphere.
We have quite a relevant question right now from our audience, not about our poor English. So I'm sorry for you to join us today. Maybe you can find another way to get such a content in your native language. Sorry to have you here. But we have another question. Sounds like a cult. To become a business analyst in gaming, you already need to be someone in gaming. Tell me, how can one enter the gaming industry with experience in developing regular applications and services? From my perspective, I must say that maybe for analysts is the easiest way to switch industries, because there are not so many game analytics with lots of experience in games, which are headhunted. Companies always search for proper analytics specialists, and it is absolutely natural to hire people from the banking system, from the banking industry, from logistics. I don't know, anything that requires work with big data and analyzing and improving something. So yeah. Or with experience from media fields like film. I don't know. What do media analysts analyze, Vasily? Do you know?
Well, for example, the media analyst can measure the audience and their dynamics within one day, within 24 hours, and within a week. They can measure the churn of that audience. They can measure some connectings, for example, of advertisement and churn, because people always churn when there is an ad. For example, in YouTube or in
Vasily, I'm outdated. I was thinking about movies and going to the theaters, but now I realize that there is so much to analyze there. And if we take some streaming platforms like Netflix, they have tons of analytics. And even I was thinking about my recent obsession is the K-dramas, the Korean romantic romantic dramas. Yeah. And I really feel that it was created just the way the game, a mobile free-to-play game, is created. Every minute and every second of my experience has been measured in order to give me dopamine and all other hormones at very exact points. And I think that there is so much data behind that. So please don't be shy and try again and again. And the author of the question says that HR managers don't think so. It's not the HR managers who hire or decline you. It's the hiring managers and the analytics, those who manage analytics, who make requirements and who decline this or that candidate. And if you are absolutely irrelevant to the requirements, then you may be declined. But these are not the evil HR managers who hate people and try to I don't know, make you feel pain because of rejects. This is all about business and creating value to business. Maybe at this point, at this exact company, your profile is irrelevant, but this doesn't mean that you have no option to join the games industry at a different time and at a different company.
And kind
Okay,
of
so
going back to your comparison
yeah,
between the free-to-play game and the TV series, I think that's a pretty organic comparison because it works with the same mechanics, with the same human emotions. And I think that could be the pretty good exercise for, let's say, candidate or for junior analyst to compare the mechanics of TV series and the free-to-play games. How do we need to organize? How do we need to build the structure of one separate TV series to maximize the retention and to minimize the churn from one episode to another? I think it's more or less the same tasks as
yeah,
the
absolutely.
game
Well, the
analysts
first the
have to
first
solve.
episode is just the same with the first time user experience,
Absolutely,
and
yes.
yeah. Oh, wow, wow, that's interesting. That gets interesting. So let's talk about skills.
Yes.
How do you think which skills are crucial, no matter which path you take as an analytic in games?
Well, I think that the first skill is the mathematical statistics. Uh, the second
I will
one
never
is
be an analytic.
um, the knowledge of some basic language such as Python or R. Um,
Hmm.
the third task is to the logic thinking because and it's more important, especially for me. For example, during the interview, when the candidate it's okay if the candidate does not know the which metrics is responsible for the price of advertisement. We call it this metric ECPM, and it's absolutely okay for me if the candidate does not know this metric name. But if the candidate is ready to think, is ready to call this metric, let's say, the price of an impression, that's absolutely okay for me. It means that his or her brains are working, and the candidate is ready to be an analyst. And the fourth skill uh, I can name is like creativity, the availability to solve the non-typical, sophisticated issues.
Hmm. So creativity. This is sometimes an issue because I noticed that there are two types of analytics. Um, uh, the first one is, and it's a huge group, are those who analyze numbers and data,
Mhm.
and they're quite good at it.
Yeah.
The second, and it's a minor and a very successful one, I must say, are those who uh, create value for the client, for the user, and for the player. So they improve the playing experience and improve monetization because we're not making games for free. This is a
Mhm.
business. Uh, and there are not so many people like that, not so many professionals like that. How do you think? Why is it so? And what does an analytic professional need to do to become this very expensive and respected professional?
Mm, I think that the deconstructions can be the good exercise to improve such skill. For example, if you take some game and if you are deconstructing it by mechanic, for example, which mechanics in this game can increase the retention, uh, or let's go further, which mechanic can be added to increase the retention, or if go further, which A/B test can be launched to test if this mechanic will work or not. Uh, I think yes, the deconstruction could be a pretty good exercise to
Mhm.
understand the nature of the game And if you are thinking deep enough, you will create some maybe unusual ideas,
Mhm.
and that's how can you develop your creativity.
I
Maybe.
see. I see. Interesting. I have another question. Yeah, of course I have my script, but it's very interesting uh, to ask some extra questions. So I noticed many years ago. It was the time when I helped to hire juniors to the team where I was working in house. We were hiring quite a lot of junior programmers, and even back then, it was not very fashionable to ask about hobbies, but I always did. And I noticed that a very big amount of successful programmers have mastered this or that musical instrument by their
Mhm.
own initiative. And mostly with Unity developers, it was the guitar.
Mm.
Have you ever noticed some extra skill, some hobby among analysts? Is there something that can unite these professionals?
Uh, no, uh, I such hobbies as, for example, quiz games or board games or D&D games, or maybe musical instruments can be the popular hobbies of game analysts, but I cannot say that any one of them could be statistically significant.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were gonna say that. Okay, let's get back to the career paths. So you already mentioned that not every analyst chooses to develop their career or in the hierarchy way. So they do not become leads, managers, top managers. But who do they become? How do they develop?
Could you please repeat? I'm afraid I
Yeah, so
don't.
a
Mhm,
high level expert analysts who have chosen to deepen their
mhm,
expertise uh, versus
mhm.
becoming a manager. So what profiles
Yes,
might they have? What are
yes,
their peculiarities, and um, do they have? Does analytics in games um, give an opportunity to such professionals really self-develop?
I think such people. I enjoy working with such people. What I need to say, because they have the pretty strong research passion. They like to solve the complicated issues. They are creative enough to develop some modules which can solve the sophisticated game problems, and they are good enough on the strategic thinking, because they always need to understand why do we need that. They can challenge the tasks that are coming to them. They can add additional questions to the author of the tasks or to themselves. How do we really need that in now, or can we replace this task with something else? Yes, but yes, the key skill for them is the passion to research and the availability. Uh, they don't afraid to solve the complicated tasks.
I see. I see. So, Vasily, and since you hire a lot, what profile of an analyst is in demand for you as a manager, besides
Yes.
those people who do not want to become a manager like you?
Uh, well, I will say this word again: the creativity. The second skill, which is pretty important for me, is the proactiveness. Uh, I enjoy working with people who will create and test the hypothesis themselves. And let's say responsibility and maybe discipline, for example, because it's I think every game analyst needs it. I have an example. We can create pretty deep metrics. We can make the strong researches. Yes, we can do it. But on the other hand, we still need to make the daily monitoring every day. And we cannot go further if our basement has a hole. Yes, and I think, yes, I enjoy working with people who feel responsibility for the game, for the product, and who feels the product as their own one. So yes, three skills: proactiveness, creativity, and responsibility. Yes.
Okay, I see. Thank you for sharing. And since you are hiring for Easybrain, how have you designed the hiring process for analysts in your company?
Yes, you're absolutely right. We are hiring. I need to say it myself. We are hiring. We're hiring
We're
analysts.
also hiring 2
Yes.
positions of head of analytics at Values
Yes.
Value.
We are hiring junior. Do we hire junior? Yes, why not? Junior, middle, and senior ones. Yes. How do we do that? We have the 3 steps. The first step is the pre-screen with our HR manager. There are a few questions about the basics of analytics, basics of mathematical statistics, maybe some metrics. The second step is the interview. We have pretty deep interview where 2, 3, 4 analysts from Easybrain can come and who can ask the questions to the candidate. And sometimes there is also a test task which we ask the candidate to make after the interview if we still have some doubts. How do you think? Is the test task as one of the stage of hiring process is needed now in 2024? How do you think? And maybe we can ask our audience what do they think about it.
Oh, thank you for asking me, Vasily. I think that there are positions where you really need a test task, and where it is it's quite logical to have one. I always say that every person in games should have a portfolio. But how do you design your analytics portfolio if everything you do is under NDA? And well, maybe it would be some kind of an open source project, but this would be a pet project. This would not be a huge project with a huge data and millions of players and billions of events to analyze. That is why for analytics, I think that it is a good idea to have a test task. And again, 2024 is the market of the companies and not the candidates. We still have to headhunt the best of the best. They do not apply so easily and frequently to the job postings. And there are regions where it's absolutely okay for candidates to have a test task, no matter what, even for the artists, and they do not ask money for that. And even game designers, imagine there are places where game designers are not afraid that their ideas would be stolen.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely okay with making test tasks, even on the live projects. But if we speak about the test tasks, there are some requirements to that. If the candidate should be super interested in order to invest 40 hours of their life into a huge
40.
test. Yes,
Don't you think
there
that
are,
40 is
especially for
almost
programmers,
okay?
especially for programmers. Um, I don't know why the hiring managers love giving such huge and complex test tasks.
Mhm.
So it should be, I guess, the ideal is to have like 4 hours. If you need to analyze a game for that, well, it's okay to show respect to the candidate and not to give like the seventh day experience, or I don't know, some 20, 30,
Mhm.
maximum the first 3 days,
Yes.
uh, maximum some 3, 4 hours of gameplay. uh, then it's it's okay to set to give a setting, like to say that please track the number of hours you spend, and give a deadline for the test task.
Mhm. Mhm.
This also helps to check mm, those soft skills, which are very important. Remember, you have named proactiveness as the second crucial
Yes.
skill. Yes, this was not something like that. This programming language, that programming language. No, this was one of the soft skills. Um, and the company should always give feedback. Imagine the person invests their lifetime, the time that they could spend
Mhm.
on their friends and family, their hobby, education, or K dramas,
Yeah.
and gets no feedback. So I think that it's a very good part of um, candidate journey and candidate relations and employer branding to be created. And what I like in the process that you've described about Easybrain is that you have first a pre-screen, then
Mhm.
in-depth technical interview, and only after that you suggest that the candidate uh, have a test task. This
Yes.
is a respectful and nice way to handle test tasks. If you can do this without test task, well, you have, for example, designed a business case.
Mhm.
You have
Well,
a case
maybe some
interview.
live coding instead.
Yeah, some live
Mhm.
coding. Yeah, especially for the juniors. I don't know if they really know that R or Python, just to check it in 2 or 3 minutes. It's possible to check it. And I wanted to ask you in return,
Mhm.
Vasily, how do
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
check creativity
Well,
with or without this task?
I have some interesting cases. I prefer not to tell about them now. Yes, those candidates who are intrigued enough to know these cases, please welcome to our interview. But yes, we have created a few pretty interesting tasks to solve during the
Hmm.
interview, which
Wow.
can show uh, if the candidate is creative enough.
I see. I see. Okay, but you do check it. I see. You do
Yes,
check.
yes.
Well, I've noticed that the more uh, the position sounds to be technical, the more creativity the managers and the professionals find in it, because
Mm,
because programmers also speak about creativity, and this is one of the most frequent answers on asking why do you like programming. They say because it is creative.
yes, and creativity is like a huge USP for the candidate.
Mhm.
Yes, candidate can mm, the creative candidate has definitely more chance,
Mhm.
higher chance to be hired.
I see. I see. Okay. We have several juniors. One of them is a junior Unity developer. Sorry,
Mhm.
Bishoy, if I hope I pronounce your name right. Our team will give you a short answer and maybe find some references to read about the Unity developers, but we'll ask Vasily about his piece of advice for the junior game analytics. What should they focus on? What do they need to develop? And what skills must they have for any career path besides mathematics, statistics, proactivity, and creativity. And,
Yes, I can.
and the fourth one was that you called stubbornness or ability to do routine tasks.
Yeah, like a discipline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes. My first advice to juniors is to make a deconstruction. I already said that. I think deconstruction is the best mental exercise you can make, and it can be not only mental, but you can go to Python and let's say to develop some A/B test, which can some imaginary A/B test which can prove one or two of your hypotheses. The second advice is to improve your Python or R by learning some new libraries, for example. And the third, the third advice, do you know the Dunning-Kruger effect, Dunning-Kruger curve? The difference between the skills of candidate and how the candidate estimate his or her skills. And juniors usually tend to overestimate their own skills. And that's why I have a couple of advices to such juniors. The first one, if you think you are strong enough, please create, you can make a deconstruction of more difficult game. And the second advice, the latest advice, is to visit some interviews. I think the interviews can be pretty good exercise to measure yourself.
yeah, and take the test tasks.
And yes, and
By the way, this would be a part of the portfolio.
And to gather all of that feedbacks.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I think that a test task, a completed test task, could be a part of your portfolio as a game analyst.
Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Now I know how to say about portfolios for game analysts.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for this advice. I have another question on how should analysts make career decisions. For example, if they receive an offer from a company, from a different company, what should they pay attention to as an analyst?
Yes, I think as a HR specialist, you either hear or ask the question, how do you see yourself in 5 years perspective? I think this.
By the way, I like this question. I don't understand why it is so harassed and underestimated.
Yes, and I think that this question can be turned vice versa. The candidate can ask the company, how do they see themselves in 5 years? And that's how you can estimate the company's scalability in number of games, in number of employees, in number of users. I think this can be the first advice. The second advice is you need to understand the role of analytics in the company. I've met a lot of companies and a lot of analytical systems inside the companies. In some of the companies, the analyst is like a voice digital assistant over Microsoft Excel, who can measure the level of difficulty and nothing more. And I think this is the point that we should pay attention to. you need to feel the data-driven or maybe data-informed culture inside the company. You need to feel the role of analytics in your company. You need to understand the level of analytics decision inside the company. For example, which decisions can analysts make in such company? Either measure the level balance, or the A/B testing, or maybe some strategic decisions. This is important to understand because this is everything.
No, please finish. I'm sorry for interruption.
Yes, this is everything about like the scalability and about the potential of growth of the company and of the analysts inside such company.
Vasily, you've mentioned strategic decisions. Could you give me an example? Maybe it could be an abstract example on such a strategic decision.
Well, for example,
on the behalf of an analyst.
For example, what should be the level of spend for our product now in August 2024 to maximize the profit of the game in the end of next year? To answer such question, you need to build a strong enough mathematical model which will connect all of the metrics of today with the metrics of the future. You will need to build the model which will take into account both cohort and non-cohort metrics. You will need to understand either to predict your LTV or to understand how the LTV is predicted. And yes, to solve this task precisely, you need to dig really deep into the game analytics.
I see. That's really interesting.
Yes, and in Easybrain we solve such tasks, and I'm proud of it.
I believe you do, because you have a very strong team, and your X's are very valuable on the market, I must say. So, for example, at Values Value, we know that our ex employees usually build quite nice careers and find it quite easy to find their next job, even if they were fired or failed to pass the probation period, just because this is like a kind of watermark, quality watermark. And the same is with analytics from analysts from Easybrain. So
it's really nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, so I've given a compliment to both of us, you see?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if we're speaking again about the companies and how it works there, how can analytic departments be structured in different gaming companies?
Let me explain how the analytical department in Easybrain is structured.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a pretty good example. Every analyst in Easybrain has two dimensions of the work. The first dimension is the product analytics. We have some amount of analysts, and we have more than 30 products which are active. And every analyst has one or more, usually more, products where the product analytics is needed. Started from monitoring, like say daily monitoring routine, weekly monitoring, monthly report, then the A/B testing, and then some custom resources, such as, for example, to calculate the live ops balance for the product, or as I say, some strategic modeling. This is the first dimension, the product analytics, the pretty classic but deep product analytics. The second dimension is like a specialization. Every analyst in our team has one or more specializations where he or she can share the expertise with another products and with another analysts. For example, let me explain it to you on the example of A/B testing.
Yeah.
We have a specialist on A/B testing. We have an analyst who is responsible for A/B testing. And and let's say we have one product, let's say product A. Of course, product A has the analyst of product A. And when we launch the A/B test on product A, it's made by the product analyst of the product A. That's why this person is the analyst of product A. But all of the infrastructure, all of the logic, all of the tools are provided by the analyst who is responsible for A/B testing. And also the person who is responsible for the A/B testing is, let's say, the analyst of product B. Hence, we have the two-dimensional work, the product analytics and some specialization. What's good about this system? It's never boring because, for example, you don't have product releases, but you have to develop your dimension, your specialization. It's pretty responsible because you need to take into, in every moment, you need to take into account two dimensions, which are orthogonal to each other. It always makes some balance between the, let's say, urgent routine tasks, such as daily monitoring or to calculate, to finalize the A/B test, and some research specialization, for example, to add Bayesian statistics to A/B testing in the company. So there is a balance between, let's say, fast and slow tasks. Between the task which you are solving in the team and which you are solving in your own corner with your own tempo. And we like this structure because, yeah, I think it's pretty balanced and it makes the work in Easybrain interesting.
Okay, I see. I have one more question about marketing analytics. So I usually find it like a normal practice when you hire your first in-house analytic. You want them to be both the product analytic and the marketing analytic. Then, depending on the structure and personalities, marketing analytics becomes a part either of the marketing team or remains part of the product analytics team. What are the pros and cons of this approach? And is it really possible to be as good at marketing analytics as at the product analytic and combine both roles?
I think that the marketing manager should be data-driven enough to perform the daily marketing routine and to estimate the value of every campaign themselves. I think that if you have a strong enough infrastructure where the LTV is forecasted and when you have some good reporting, this can be made by marketing manager. And I think that the good practice is to have inside the analytical team is to have the analyst, which specialization is the marketing analytics. For example, if you need to make some cross project research, let's say cross promo research, or some marketing research between the projects, Then you can ask the analyst to make this sophisticated mathematical model. But yes, I think that on a daily basis, it should be the zone of responsibility for UAM.
Okay. I think that I have run out of questions. If you have any questions to me, Vasily, at this point, I will be happy to answer them. And then we'll take a closer look at the questions from our audience.
Let's have a look at the audience, yes. And I also promised to share some analytical stuff in the end of the interview, and I've prepared that.
Great.
I can introduce it briefly, and I will
Yeah.
send it. I will send it for you after the interview, so you can make the follow-up to every person who visited us.
Yes, that will be cool. Maybe let's start with this.
Yes, okay. I can briefly run through my materials, and you can explore the questions.
Yeah.
So I will start with the two books about the mathematical statistics as it is. My favorite one is How to Lie with Statistics. It's a pretty old book by Darrell Huff. And also I enjoy the book Say It With Charts by Jim Gelazny. This is the book of how shall we visualize the data. Then I can recommend a couple of books about the analytics as it is. It's like Bibles of the analytics culture and the lean analytics. It's the most popular book about the analytics as it is. Also, I think to make your brain flexible and to understand better the way of thinking, everybody, not only the analysts, but everybody shall read the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. And I can recommend 4 books about the game analytics. The first one is the Freemium Economics by Eric Seifert. It's a pretty popular book, which can be downloaded by free in the internet. The second one is my book. It exists only in Russian. I hope it will be translated in English one day. It calls The Game of Numbers, Игра в цифры. The third book is a pretty fresh one. I think it was published this year or maybe 2023. It called Game Analytics by Russell Owens. That's a pretty good book. And finally, I can recommend any book of Edward Castronova. He's like a philosopher of the virtual worlds. It's not about the analytics, it's about the construction of the virtual worlds and about the laws of the virtuality, and I like to read it. And also, yes, I can recommend a couple of platforms. The first platform is Advice. Yes, there could be found some good educational courses, and the course that I recorded in Dev to Dev in 2017 can be found there. And also the platform Balancy recently published some good book about the design of in-game shop, and I like this book very much, and I can recommend it. That's it.
Thank you, Vasily. I have gone through the comments from LinkedIn. These are the ones that I have access to, and so, dear audience, we shall answer in comments with relevant links to relevant content on your questions. And they are mostly not about the analytics in games. But there is one that I can show. Do you need analytic skills in localization or translation?
I'd rather say no. I think it's pretty far enough from analytics. There are things that can be measured. for example, like the quality of translations. But yes, I think it's better to not think about analytics when you do the localizations.
I see. I see. So we have lots of questions on entering the games industry. So we have articles and manuals on that on ingamejob.com and our blog boost ingamejob.com. We also have some streams and some talks on this topic. So our team will share in comments. And I must say that Vasily, it's
Yes,
sharp an hour that we have finished.
perfect
Because
timing. Yes.
yeah, because we have analyzed, made a prediction, and have calculated the
Yes.
lifetime value of this stream. Exactly right. Thank you very much for letting us to invite you and for having you here. It
Thank you
was
so much.
my big pleasure to talk to you. I hope that in future we can invite you again. And please share your feedback, dear audience. There will be a record of the stream. Thank you again, Vasily.
Thank you. That was a pleasure. And it will be a pleasure to take part again.
Great, great. Thank you very much, dear audience.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.